To the graduates of 2020, my name is McKeel Hagerty, and I'd like to offer you a few unsolicited thoughts for your graduation. You know, whether you're graduating from high school or college or grad school or vocational college, congratulations. This is just awesome. It's a great feat, and no one can ever take it away from you. I bet it's a little different now than you expected it to be when you started your journey. I bet you thought you'd be going to lots of parties and maybe a big commencement ceremony. And it's just different, right? You know, going to a virtual graduation and having your diploma mailed to you just didn't reach up to our expectations. And you know what? That's okay. But maybe in these truly extraordinary times, having something so different, having your life, this next phase of your life, start in such a unique way will spur on some truly great things in your life. And I'd like to offer a few thoughts why. By now, you've probably realized a major life lesson, and that is that nothing truly great in life ever happens completely alone. It's always a team effort. And so now with this diploma, you have a little bit of an obligation to show some gratitude for those who helped get you here. So be sure in the next coming weeks and months, thank your family and your teachers and your coaches and your friends and maybe even your rivals for helping elevate the bar for you along the way. So you can go out there and thank them and feel great about the very next steps that are going to happen in your life. There is a really misunderstood quote that is supposedly attributed to ancient Chinese wisdom, and it is, "May you live in interesting times." Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear somebody say something like, "May you always have the sunshine on your face or the wind at your back," it sounds like a blessing. But this phrase, "May you live in interesting times," is often referred to as the Chinese curse. It was even used by the late President John F. Kennedy as the Chinese curse. And the idea is that, I guess, interesting times are times of great challenge or turmoil or even pain and suffering. And certainly, I think we can look at a lot of the events of 2020 and say, these are interesting times. And there is a lot of challenge and turmoil and even suffering in there. But is this really a blessing or is this really a curse? I think it's in the ambiguity where the real wisdom of this phrase lies. And even though it's probably not really ancient Chinese wisdom, it can be our wisdom that we can take forward into our lives. And I can tell you, because I believe I am speaking to the next generation of leaders on this planet, and that is you, that we're the ones that get to create this new reality. Are we going to make these really big challenges that are happening in the world a curse? Or are we going to turn them into the blessings of the future? Let's talk about a few ways that we can turn them into blessings. So I've made it my personal mission in life, my entire adult life, to study great leaders and learners out there who have led organizations, countries, you name it, through really challenging and interesting times. And I think if I were to sum it all up into three simple things, they kind of go like this. We're going to need mastery, we're going to need agility, and we're going to need positivity. And even though life is complicated and there are many more things than just those three lessons, I think those are three things that you can take forward with you on this next journey. So let's talk about each of those. Let's talk about mastery. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to give a commencement address, and I asked a group of over 600 graduates, hold up your hand if you want to be wildly successful and to change the world. And I actually had to ask the question 3 times to even get very many people to raise their hand. I think maybe they didn't take me very seriously, but I guess I just assumed a bunch of graduates probably wanted to be wildly successful and to change the world. But I think over the last few months, during the COVID crisis, when we've all been locked up and doing our classes and all of our meetings on Zoom, that maybe our concepts of success have changed a little bit. And maybe we're a little bit worried about whether we can even be really successful in this world going forward. Well, I can tell you we can if we just stop worrying about success so much. Let's worry more about excellence and mastery and less about success. The success will come when it's time. Now, lots of people stand up and give commencement addresses and they talk about finding your passion and you got to find your purpose in life, and they talk a lot about those things. That's all fine and dandy, but let's focus on that idea of excellence for a minute. So the idea here is really that if you find something that you're good at, it's great. I don't care whether you want to be great at skateboarding or you want to play video games or whatever it is. Those are all now really worthy pursuits. A generation ago, the very thought of somebody being a professional player of video games or somebody being an Instagram influencer as a great skateboarder would have not even been possible. Now, all of those things are possible for you. So don't just find something that you like. Find something that you can be truly good at and take measured steps along the way to try to really master it. You never know where you could end up with that. Maybe you'll become a great video game designer. Maybe you'll design or own the next new skateboard company. It really doesn't matter. Just be truly great at something. The success will follow. Now, agility, and this one may sound like it's contradicting mastery before, but there's this ancient Greek bit of wisdom from a lyric poet named Archilochus, which is, the fox knows many things and the hedgehog knows one important thing. And when we think about challenging times, when there's a big battle to be fought or a hill to be taken, we often think of this leader who just pounds the table and only gets one thing done. And when we think of things like COVID and we got to find a vaccine, or you think about all the issues of racial injustice and all the stuff that we need to take on in the world, we think we just need that leader that's going to give us that one message that's going to get it through. But guess what? In highly changing times, we don't need that hedgehog only focused on one thing. We need the thinking more like the fox, and let me explain why. In 1953, Isaiah Berlin, the philosopher, wrote a book, The Fox and the Hedgehog, and he talked about these two things. And he talked about the strength of the hedgehog leader, and he talked about the flexibility of the fox-type leader. And the fox-type leader is able to take in lots of little bits of different information, lots of different perspectives, and mold them and shape them into something new, and then pivot when you need to be able to pivot. It's not just about speaking one thing and only having one answer for every challenge that comes your way. It's about having the agility of the fox as we go forward in our leadership and in our lives to adapt to these incredibly changing times. So mastery, agility, and now positivity. You know, I bet you know people like I do who they sit back and they love to criticize everything, right? They like to sit and never really engage with things, but they feel really smart, and sometimes they even look smart by tearing other people down, by always finding the negative view of things, and always finding that little critical point where something really cool might just kind of fall apart. Well, I can tell you, in my lifetime study of great leaders and thinkers and learners across history, and especially in modern times, it's really hard to follow a pessimist. So if you really want to be a leader and you want to be one of the people that's going to help change the world and light the way to an even better future out there with all of the opportunity that we have today, be positive about it. Find the great things that are in life. Take all the little things that you see around you that are truly happening well and weave them into a positive vision for the future, and then go take the steps out there to get it done. So if those are three things that would be really useful for us to focus on in 2020 during these really extraordinary times, there's one little bonus one, and that is beware of people like me that stand up in front of cameras and say, these are the three things that you have to do. Life is much more complicated than that, and you will have many more than three that you'll need to accomplish along the way. But I just want to give you this positive message, and I really do think that we have every reason to take all of these challenges and turn them into not the curses, but the blessings of our future if we work on this one thing together. Remember, there will be troubles in life. There will be challenges in life. But if we look them straight in the eye, we acknowledge them for what they are, and we say, you cannot beat me, we can truly create a better future, and we can turn any kind of curse into a wonderful blessing. So, to the graduates of 2020, congratulations. Help us light the way to an even more positive and flourishing future. All the best.